Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to round 12 of season 5 of our F124 Mercedes driver career mode. Yes, we're back this weekend here in Marina Bay for the Singapore Grand Prix. Of course, if you missed out on the video that went live a few days ago from the Temple of Speed out at Monza, I would highly recommend going back and checking it out. We have just 5 rounds to go with the season, including 2 more sprint races before we're done and dusted. And finally, last weekend, we returned to winning ways there. We've won both of the Italian Grand Prix this year, which I think we can be pretty proud of, and obviously adding that to our victory in Monaco as well. We're still yet to finish P3 in a race this season, but yeah, we've got an 11-point lead over Lando Norris in the Drivers' Championship, a 15-point lead over George Russell there, but you could make the argument still that Verstappen and Fernando Alonso both have an outside shot at the crown as well. We're into Formula 1's flyaway season. We've got a few interesting races coming between now and the end of the year, and honestly, I think it's anybody's guess who is going to walk away with the crown. Now, as we head into Singapore, are there any more upgrades we can do on the car? I guess we can try and add the front downforce upgrade as well, though. But if you have a look around, apart from... No, we've got no more upgrades to do currently inside this game. We've done everything we possibly can inside F124. Of course, if you're new around here and you aren't already, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourself subscribed to the channel. We're going to get this season done before Christmas, and then obviously start with season 6 in the new year. Of course, if I win the title with Mercedes, then we will make the move to another team as well. So yeah, exciting times ahead still before the end of this game. But anyway, let's try Marina Bay. I love this track. It's one of our best inside F124. If we could get back-to-back victories, that would really help us out in the Drivers' Championship.
It is one of our great cinematic settings of the season. Welcome to Singapore. We're under the floodlights with the walls close and pole position up for grabs.
Well, this is probably the best suited track for this car since all the way back at the Monaco Grand Prix, but a lot has changed between then and now inside this series, but I would love to try and claim a pole position. The Mercedes car looks so good under the floodlights here in Marina Bay, so I'm hoping we can try and deliver a good result. Of course, we really did get some good confidence back after the Italian Grand Prix last weekend. I'm hoping that was a little bit of a breakthrough for us towards the end of the season, because boy oh boy, did we need another win on the board, especially when most of my main championship rivals struggled as well there. But purple through the first sector. Of course, we won this race last season in pretty dramatic fashion. Of course, Fernando Alonso making a mistake late on in the day after I got a puncture early on in the afternoon, but as we shut the car through the Singapore sling, the front end of this thing is so responsive still. It has easily been one of its best strengths throughout this season there. But Alonso, he looks to be very, very racy as well this weekend. Desperately needs to try and get a couple more wins before the season is down and out. I'd love to know how many drivers are going to go into Abu Dhabi with a mathematics shot at the World Championship here. But can we try and snooker away P1 from Fernando? He's always gone well around this circuit as we throw the car through the final couple of corners. Will it be Fernando? Will it be us completely pinned through that final corner? I think we're going to do it. It is P1 on the grid here in Marina Bay. I am happy with that. Well, there we go. Pole position by just shy of 0.2 of a second ahead of Alonso. 4 of your championship top 5 there. Inside your top 5, Lando Norris, after a P10 effort last weekend, P13 here in Singapore. So a horrible, horrible qualifying session for him. Are we just seeing Lando's championship start to turn around again late on in the campaign? Enzo Fittipaldi, he will be gutted to start all the way down in P17, just ahead of the Haas of Awasa and those 2 Kick Sauber cars. But for us, this is a golden opportunity.
The spectacular backdrop of the Singapore skyline, something of an endurance race ahead with the notorious sauna-like temperatures for the drivers. It makes it a very physical contest out there. Welcome back to Marina Bay for the Singapore Grand Prix. One of the interesting things about this circuit was the fact that we went under the grandstand. Well, not at the moment. The track layout has been reduced to 3 miles. Turn 16 and 19 are lost for the moment. We now have a straight there. before we begin, let's take a quick look at the grid lineup for today's race. Firestarter lines up on pole position, and Fernando Alonso completes the front row. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Russell, Verstappen, Oscar Piastri, Stroll, Sainz, Hamilton, Perez, Tsunoda, Ricciardo, Gasly, Norris, Ocon, Albon, Behrman, Fittipaldi, Iwasa, Vesti and Zhou Guanyu. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
Okay, we're in a good, solid position for the Constructors' title, which will mean so much to everybody here in this team. There's just 3 races to go, so we need some good, solid results.
I love the fact Mark just cannot seem to do maths inside this game at the moment. It is just hilarious to me for some reason. Not only are we almost mathematically out of the Constructors already, there's 5 races to go, including this one, rather than the 3 he is claiming. So yeah, that is a rather peculiar stat coming from our engineer. But yeah, ahead of us then, 31 laps here from Marina Bay. I am looking forward to this one, but still, I'm always just worried that we're going to end up with a mechanical failure between now and the end of the year. I have put a completely fresh engine into the back of the car this weekend after all those technical gremlins we saw at Monza, but hopefully that is not going to be a bad omen. 5 red lights on the grid here in Singapore. And it is going to be Fernando Alonso who's going to get a good start alongside us there as we will try and get the power down. And just like we saw last year, Alonso trying to go for a move straight into P1 off the start. Verstappen again just tucked in behind us there as George Russell seems to have got a pretty bad start in that McLaren car. As Alonso just darting around there in towards the braking before we head out onto the Rattles Boulevard. It is he and Verstappen that need to deliver today. It is he and the Dutchman that need to try and get wins on the table between now and the end of the year, because it just feels like our 3 Brits have just pulled away from them slightly. Verstappen, of course, so much bad luck across the Austrian and British Grand Prix weekends a few rounds ago. Alonso and the Aston Martin team just felt like they took a step backwards in the last couple of rounds, but here at Marina Bay, they have brought some upgrades as well. So that car is looking very, very racy. And I mean, yeah, for Alonso, he basically needs everybody in front of him to have some problems late on in the campaign and just pray that he can get some big results on the board there. But car feeling fairly planted on lap 1. It is just important that we settle into a rhythm. And obviously we had great success in Monza by just playing it nice and careful, not being too crazy early on in the race. So I'm going to try the same thing here. Don't worry about trying to go for moves too early on. The race will come to us. But I'm also trying to make sure, one of the big things I've always struggled with inside this game is obviously nudging the barriers a lot and obviously picking up a lot of tyre wear because of it. So that's something else I'm trying to be really, really careful of early on here. Obviously it almost completely ruined our race here last season. We did admittedly get a little bit lucky that weekend with a red flag and some other incidents as well there towards the end of the afternoon. Right up behind Alonso then as we make our way out to the Rattles Boulevard. Where on earth is he trying to go? What on earth was that from Fernando? We will get around the outside on the brakes again, but Alonso kind of realised we were going for it, and I think he was arguably a bit late there trying to defend. Not really a fan of Alonso's defensive antics early on, so we're going to try and see if we can go for it again there, as right up on his diffuser through turn 1 and turn 2. I would love to have seen a shot of that from the back of Alonso's car there, right up on his gearbox. That was pretty good if you ask me. Let's see if we can try and get a run though once again down the Rattles Boulevard. Just want to wait and see this time. I mean, what is that? How can you drive that aggressively with the car alongside you? I mean, had we not backed out of it, that would have been an airplane crash. Luckily, I think Alonso kind of accepts that as well. Maybe felt the contact and will give up the place. As soon as we get into the lead, though, I start getting squirrely. As we cross 1/3 distance, then the gap to Alonso here is really just starting to open up over these last few. And, well, I said I hoped coming into this weekend that this would be a Mercedes-strong circuit. I'd always said, you know, that summer stretch between really Barcelona and Monza was always going to be tough for us. And the only real completely straight-line circuit between now and the end of the year is obviously Las Vegas. So, you know, the fact we were able to win Monza as well, yes, a lot of things fell into place for us. And the car ended up being very, very efficient in a straight line around that circuit. And our only rival was really Oscar Piastri in the Ferrari. Here, though, I mean, I just love this venue inside F124. I know there's an argument, obviously, in real life that, yeah, they've made the track a little bit easier, and therefore I think it has led to some better racing. It does often mean, though, now IRL, you know, you think of the drivers that have won here in Singapore prior to the update. It was Alonso, Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, and I think Nico Rosberg. They were the only 4 that have won a race here. Now, obviously, we've seen Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, and Lando Norris. It is certainly a much, much easier venue to try and drive around. And I think, you know, that change is welcomed, but has taken some of the prestige out of a Singapore Grand Prix weekend now. It may be just a little bit too easy for the most part there. Either way you look at it, though, Max Verstappen, for whatever reason, just cannot win around Marina Bay. Still, even after 2024, Antonio Giovinazzi has led more laps here than Max Verstappen. But of course, I've always got to try and draw the balance between fun content and, you know, the competitiveness of this game. You guys know, obviously, I don't script races or anything like that. What happens, happens, hence Barcelona. But ultimately, on a weekend like this, where we do seem to have a little bit more pace over the rest of our competitors here, you know, I just want to try and get the win. I don't care how boring it is. You know, at the end of the day, I'm still just a competitor as well there. And, you know, we know that there can be bad RNG and things like that inside this game. We know that we could get screwed over at some point with a mechanical failure and things like that. So honestly, if you've got an opportunity to absolutely dominate a race, then I'm going to try to.
We need to try and put that behind us, though, and finish the race strong.
That is certainly not helpful then. We're going to lose a few seconds to Alonso and Verstappen when they do decide to pit as well. And again, we are the first car into the pit lane in yet another GP. So it really just seems to be our strategy now inside this game. We are going to come out right with a Yuma Oasa, I think, with the pit lane exit here. We've got to be super careful about. So we're probably going to have to try and jump the Haas car on the road. But yeah, we've got to try and get these hard tyres up to temperature. That really has not taken us long before we're all over the back of the Japanese driver. Of course, I do wish they'd add the other DRS zone now around this circuit. That would be quite a nice addition inside F124. We've seen it obviously now in Albert Park, but it wouldn't surprise me, of course, if they don't do it until F125 releases. Let's see if we can get a run, though, on Oasa down this short chute. Whoa, we're not quite close enough there to really go for anything. It seemed like, yeah, he just wanted to cover us off anyway. Of course, with that huge lead we had at the front, there's no point really risking things like that. There's Oasa. Oh, again, why is he trying to go so defensive from me? Clearly wants to defend every place he can. We just run a little bit wide through the chicane there, but we will make the move happen anyway. So we've got a load of other cars into pit lane then. Is this Verstappen and Alonso? There's Verstappen, there is Alonso. So we've still come out in the net lead. Oh, green in sector 1, green in sector 2. Lewis is into the pit lane.
In the pits now.
What are we going to be able to do through those final couple of corners? Just to absolutely send it through. Could this be a 128? Yes, it is. A 28.7 there, and that goes to remind everybody of how dominant our pace is looking this weekend. As we have still... I mean, the gap to Alonso has come down by quite a bit, actually. Down to just 4.6 seconds. But into the second half of the race we go. I just want to try and bring this car home now. And like I said, I just always have that certain level of anxiety as I'm going to pick up a mechanical failure.
From a couple of the sensors. I don't think you need to be worried, just some bad data. So keep doing what you're doing. I'll let you know if we notice any genuine problems.
Oh, and it's that radio message every time that doesn't help there, nudging the wall slightly. That'll give us just a tiny bit of wing damage, but hopefully won't make too much of a difference. Oh, Ollie Behrman, eh? Behrman's been disqualified. What on earth has he done? I can only assume he got trapped down one of the escape roads and couldn't find a way back out. But Behrman, well, that is very, very bad luck for him. So he had that mechanical failure a few rounds ago back in Barcelona. Williams, their reliability this year has been a little bit ropey at the best of times. But yeah, Behrman, I think that might be our first disqualification of the year. Very, very disappointing for him. After, again, more bad luck last time out of Monza. I tell you what, though, as we get towards the final third of this race, we obviously used those hard tyres at the Belgian Grand Prix a couple of rounds ago. They didn't feel that good there. They really aren't feeling that good either here. Alonso has slowly closed up to the back of us. I don't think we're going to be under much pressure from anybody else. Maybe Verstappen. But these tyres just are not working. Well, I don't want to say anything too soon.
13.8 seconds.
Well, I don't want to say anything too soon or potentially jinx myself or anything like that late on in this GP. But at the moment, it seems like Alonso took a load of time out of us and now is just starting to settle back in. Stroll has pulled away from George Russell as well. So I think the Mercedes, the McLaren even, is starting to struggle there as there seems to be a lot of chopping and changing going on inside that gaggle of cars. So now it looks like Russell might have just a little bit of breathing room from the cars behind him as well. I mean, Lando Norris, I don't even think he's in the points still. If he is, he might be down in like 10th place. But yeah, Norris, the bottle job that is Lando, seems to be living up to his name in this series. 4 wins in a row to suddenly not qualifying, I think, 10th and 13th in back-to-back GPs. And obviously inside this game, the AI, they just really struggle to make any progress. Well, really getting towards the end then of this GP. You can still see Alonso and Verstappen now. Less than a second between them, so Verstappen is really getting racy towards the end of this GP there. So will we see a switch behind us? What it is doing is just allowing us a little bit of extra breathing room late on in the afternoon. But yeah, still just always, like I said, nervous about having a mechanical or anything like that. I just want to get the car, I want to see the checkered flag and try to claim yet again back-to-back race victories. Oh, we've got yellows, we've got yellows! Oh, that's Perez, I think. No, it's a VCARB, it's a VCARB. What on earth has happened late on in the day? Who is that breaking down? Is it Ricciardo? Is it Carlos Sainz? We've got another yellow flag. Someone else has got issues. Who is that? Who is breaking down? Sainz has gone. We've got more yellow flags out somewhere, but no one seems to be breaking down. That is going to be one of the weirdest things I've ever seen inside F1 24. Yellow flags came out up the Raffles Boulevard. I don't know whether something had happened between Verstappen and Alonso. The gaps haven't opened up or anything. But we've got 2 yellow flags out. Somehow no safety car during all of this, because that's normally what triggers it. But it is just Sainz who is out of this race.
Here's some information on Russell for you. They've got some kind of mechanical problem.
So more and more drama then, and well, McLaren's #1 driver this weekend and struggling with reliability towards the end of the GP. Is that going to put him under pressure from, I believe it's Perez and Piastri behind him?
Okay, you've just started the final lap of the race. Final lap.
Well, one more lap to go then here from Marina Bay, and what can I say other than Mercedes are back, ladies and gentlemen? A bit like buses. We seem to go ages on this game without a win, and then normally 2 come along in one go there. But the turnaround we've had, I really did feel that the championship was just slipping away from us over the summer stretch. We just lacked the ultimate pace against the likes of McLaren, against the likes of Max Verstappen. But ultimately, Monza, we got a little bit lucky. Here in Singapore, though, I knew this track had to be a good one for the car. Otherwise, we could kiss any championship hopes goodbye. I'm a little bit nervous as we get towards the end of the year. Of course, I've spoke countless times about Mercedes' bad luck out in Qatar, so hopefully that won't really screw us over right towards the end of the campaign as well. But here in Marina Bay, pole position. We started, we lost the lead early on to Alonso, but as soon as we took it back, we have never really been threatened throughout the rest of the afternoon. It's going to be the full 26 points as well there. Meanwhile, our 2 main title rivals in Russell and Lando Norris have struggled home in their McLaren cars. We are going to bring this fight. We're going to drag it out right to the bitter end, through the final corner here in Marina Bay. It's a track we've had so much success at. We're going to win again. It is P1 here in Singapore.
Yes, 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 guys, yes! Come on, boys!
Ah, fantastic drive. That's just fantastic. Amazing. You deserve that race win. Well done, mate.
What a great race it's been then. Another classic Singapore Grand Prix. And they've held on to take the checkered flag here today.
Well, that's 2 race wins in a row for them. I think they'll be really happy with that. I mean, 1 race win is great, but to have 2, you know that you've got it. You're a little bit more comfortable in your skin. This is a great sign of maybe what's to come next.
After an excellent performance at the Grand Prix, I'm sure there'll be plenty of celebrations tonight amongst the Mercedes team, and they certainly deserve it.
Well, take a look at that then. P1, fastest lap, race victory, 26 points on the board. We absolutely love to see it there. And again, we will open up our lead in terms of the championship. Alonso and Verstappen, they both needed a good result this weekend. They've outscored the McLarens, but they're going to need a bit of bad luck from me if they want to get back into the fight towards the end of the year. They're Stroll in 4th ahead of Russell and Oscar Piastri. Perez beats home Hamilton, Ocon and Daniel Ricciardo rounding out your top 10. Lando Norris only able to improve to P11 come the end of the afternoon. That might be a season-defining result for our fellow Brit there. You can see Carlos Sainz, Ollie Behrman, he did actually get classified as a DNF in the end, so not too sure what happened with that one. But suddenly, we've got a 31-point lead at the top of the drivers' table with just 4 rounds to go and a couple of sprints. What's that, 8 points a weekend? We couldn't quite finish P2 to George Russell in every Grand Prix, but we are getting there, and slowly but surely, hopefully, we're going to mathematically wrap up this World Championship. Constructors-wise, we are now just 5 points back behind Red Bull as well there. So yeah, certainly going from strength to strength at the moment, as Lewis is getting closer and closer to Perez as well. But ultimately, yeah, McLaren, after a rough weekend, still with a 72-point lead. Thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, get yourselves subscribed. We will be back, obviously, next round is Brazil. So we've actually got a little bit of a break inside the game. But 4 races, 2 sprints. I'm looking forward to it. Let's try and bring home the world title to Mercedes.